Putin threatens Ukraine, Belgium recognizes the State of Palestine, and Trump prepares new sanctions on Russia. Here are the top stories. Russian President Vladimir Putin is threatening attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure. He claims this would be in response to Ukrainian strikes. Putin made the remarks during a meeting with Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico in China. Putin also claimed that until recently, Russia had avoided targeting civilian infrastructure in Ukraine, particularly during the autumn and winter months. In reality, Ukrainian cities have experienced widespread blackouts and damage to energy facilities, contradicting Putin's claim.
We endured for a long time while Ukrainian forces carried out constant strikes on our energy facilities. After that, we began to respond. And of course, we are responding, so to speak, seriously. That is true. In response, the Ukrainian side tries to inflict damage on us, but it also causes damage to our partners.
Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico said he would urge President Zelensky not to strike the Druzhba oil pipeline. He warned that Slovakia would respond strongly to any strikes on the pipeline, which supplies oil to Slovakia and Hungary from Russia. Putin, in response, urged Eastern European countries to cut gas and oil supplies to Ukraine to stop attacks on their energy infrastructure. Fico made it clear he would not beg to the EU's REPowerEU plan to reduce reliance on Russian oil and gas. The European Commission quickly responded, stressing that Fico was not speaking for the EU during the China talks. President Donald Trump is weighing new sanctions on Russia this week. The move comes as the Kremlin has no plans for a trilateral meeting with Putin, Trump, and Zelensky. Speaking to Fox News, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made it clear all options are on the table when it comes to U.S. sanctions against Russia.
President Putin, since the historic meeting in Anchorage, since the phone call, when the European leaders and President Zelensky were at the White House the following Monday, has done the opposite of following through on what he indicated he wanted to do. As a matter of fact, he has, in a despicable manner, increased the bombing campaign.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, the rhetoric remains unchanged. President Putin's advisor, Yuri Ushakov, denied reports that Moscow and Washington had agreed to a trilateral summit with Trump, Putin, and Zelensky. According to Ushakov, Putin and Trump discussed the raising the level of delegations in talks between Ukraine and Russia during their meeting in Alaska. This, however, contradicts Trump's own statements suggesting that a trilateral summit will take place.
Right now, there's talk about a trilateral meeting, about a meeting between Putin and Zelensky, but specifically, as far as I know, there was no agreement between Putin and Trump on this.
Russia and China have agreed to build the Power of Siberia 2 gas pipeline. Gazprom and China's CNPC signed a memorandum for the project, which includes a transit route through Mongolia called Soyuz East. The news comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with Chinese leader Xi Jinping. During the talks, they praised an unprecedented level of cooperation. Putin also declared that Russia and China were the main victors of World War II. Gazprom's CEO Alexei Miller says the pipeline Power of Siberia 2 will deliver 50 billion cubic meters of gas per year from Russia to China for the next 30 years. In addition, supplies via the existing Power of Siberia pipeline will rise from 38 to 44 billion cubic meters annually, while the Far East route will add 2 billion more. Gas payments will be split 50-50 between rubles and yuan. Deliveries from East Siberia to China are cheaper due to shorter distances compared to shipments from the West Siberia to Europe. Meanwhile, last week President Trump imposed a 25% tariff on oil imports from India, accusing the country of indirectly funding Russia's war in Ukraine through its oil purchases. Belgium will officially recognize the State of Palestine at the United Nations General Assembly next week. It joins Australia, France, Canada, and the United Kingdom in a move aimed at pressuring Israel to end the war in Gaza and ease the ongoing humanitarian crisis.
Palestine will be recognized by Belgium during the UN session, and firm sanctions will be taken against the Israeli government. Any anti-Semitism or glorification of terrorism by Hamas supporters will also be more strongly condemned.
Foreign Minister Maxime Prévost says Belgium will introduce 12 national sanctions against Israel, calling the situation in Palestine a humanitarian tragedy and accusing Israel of violating international law. The measures include banning imports from settlements, reviewing public contracts with Israeli companies, and restricting consular aid to Belgians in illegal settlements. They also involve declaring several Israeli ministers, Hamas leader and violent settlers persona non grata. Belgium will also push the EU to suspend cooperation with Israel, including the Blocs Association Agreement, joint research programs and technical projects. Moscow denies role in von der Leyen plane incident. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov insists Moscow had nothing to do with the navigation failure on von der Leyen's plane. EU officials say the aircraft lost GPS signal while flying over Bulgaria and had to land in Plovdiv using paper maps. But flight tracking service Flight Radar reported no GPS issues for the Commission President's plane. Bulgaria's air traffic control says GPS outages and even fake signals have been increasingly common since 2022. Bulgarian Interior Minister Daniel Mitov says police ruled out a cyber attack but will keep investigating until all circumstances are clear, adding that Russia's denials should not be taken at face value.
Since the beginning of the war in Ukraine in 2022, this type of GPS jamming of flight systems in certain regions near the conflict, Russia's war against Ukraine, has been occurring constantly. Moscow denied that there are Russian troops in Crimea. Therefore, what the Russian Federation says is completely meaningless. We are already used to the fact that reliable information cannot be obtained from there. We need to verify what exactly is happening.
Lithuania's foreign minister has already urged the EU to take actions against Russia in light of the incident. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this update, give us a like and let us know what you think in the comments. For the latest news, follow our new X account, War and Politics 24. The link is in the video description.